Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. I'm Peter Alexievich, and this is Wednesday, August the 30th, 2023, day 553 of Vladimir Putin's obscene and heinous venture in Ukraine. Now, you should mark your calendars, because today is a turning point. Why do I say today is a turning point? Because I can do math. Who wants to do some math with me, huh? Let's do a little math together, guys. So this is the Pskov Air Base, which yesterday was hit by drones, by Ukrainian drones. And we know for certain that two Il-76 cargo planes were destroyed. We believe that another 5 were damaged beyond repair. There were 22 housed there. There is the possibility that a Tu-22 backfire bomber was also there, but that's not confirmed, so we won't count that one. Right, so that's 7 of the fleet of about 90 that the military has of these Il-76s that are out of service for the forever or for the foreseeable future. At a cost of $50 million apiece, that's $350 million in lost equipment there. That does not include the damage to the 76 Airborne Division barracks and facilities that are located there as well. This is an electronic warfare, drone detection, anti-air or air defense system. Cost $200 million, destroyed in southern Ukraine. That's $550 million. And that's before we know what the damage was done in the other 5 strikes inside Russia, right? You follow? So far we're up to $550 million in lost equipment yesterday, bare minimum. This is another, I think it's an M126, something like that. It's a anti-aircraft, air defense system. And cost of this, $40 million. So now we're up to roughly $600 million. Safely, we're up to $600 million. Here you got 28 caliber cruise missiles, none of which hit their targets. And another, I think, 15 Shahed drones. Those Caliber cruise missiles run you $1 million a piece. So conservatively with the drones, we can say 30 million. So we're up to 630 million so far. Then, now look at this. Just yesterday, 9 tanks. Let's be conservative, low end. $1 million a piece. That's another, let's call it 10 million in tanks. But look at the artillery systems. 26 artillery systems. Most of those in the $11 million range. Yesterday, conservatively, the Russian armed forces lost $1 billion in equipment that they are going to have an awful hard time replacing. And that's on top of the estimated daily cost of $500 million to $1 billion a day to prosecute this war. But much more importantly, let's talk for a second about the prosecution of this war and the differences in it. In the largest drone strikes inside of Russia yesterday, we saw a professional Ukrainian armed forces fly drones maybe as much as 800 kilometers to precisely strike the military targets that they were after. The cargo planes that are going to be so important in the resupply of Crimea once the siege of Crimea is fully underway. The Air Force base, the personnel that man those cargo planes. The electronics plant in Berdyansk, the Silicon L plant building, and not just, and see this I wonder about this, because we know that it was building 16 of that plant that was hit. Do the Ukrainians have so much intel that they know which of the buildings is manufacturing the chips for the military and they struck that building? It's not impossible. I can't say for sure. But I think it's interesting that we know it was building 16. So I'd like to know what was made in building 16. The strikes on Orel, Ryazan, Moscow, which closed the airports again yesterday in Moscow, and Berdyansk, in addition to the Pskov strikes inside of Russia, plus the strikes on Sevastopol and the radar installations in southern Ukraine, all speak of a professionalism and a precision in the prosecution of this war that minimizes collateral damage and focuses on the enemy's ability to conduct the war. What was Russia's response? I was in bed last night. I was dead asleep about 4 o'clock in the morning. The air raid sirens didn't wake me up. It was the airburst of the Caliber cruise missiles, which unalived 2 civilians here in Kyiv last night, at least, that we know of. Territorial defense defended me in my sleep last night, me and everybody in this town. And they did it with 100% rate. 28 out of 28 of those missiles did not reach their civilian targets. 14 of the 15 drones were shot down. Incredible precision on the part of the Ukrainians. But what does it tell us about the prosecution of the war? Putin sends these missiles in the middle of the night to terrorize the civilian population and make us unalive. Have us stumbling to air shelters at 5 a.m., shot for the day. While the Ukrainians focus on the enemy's ability to conduct the war. There aren't 2 sides in this conflict. There isn't another story to listen to. There is only the unenlightened short-term self-interest of a narcissistic avarice of a dictator intent on the genocide of a free and independent people and a free and independent people fighting for their very existence and doing it against their opponent's military, not their opponent's citizenry. So, ladies and gentlemen, you combine this billion-dollar day of losses for the Russians with their obscene and immoral campaign and the moral fortitude of the Ukrainian armed forces and the breakthrough of the Surovikin line. This is not confirmed yet, but I have every reason to believe that the first line of defensive fortifications and minefields has been breached, and the second line, the first of the Surovikin lines around Verbove, is also now breached. On the Telegram channels, the Russians are freaking out, and they're calling for artillery strikes in Verbove. You don't call for artillery strikes in a town that you hold. Mark your calendars. Today is a turning point. Thank you, my friends. More Live at 5. Join me then.